Matt from the Trade Brigade here doing a technical analysis on ticker symbol C for Citigroup. On the left-hand side, we have the daily time frame, and on the right-hand side, the 30-minute intraday time frame. First things first, I should let you know that in the after hours, the stock is moving on a news announcement that they're going to plan on getting out of some of their, I believe it was from Mexico, small, medium business operations. Yeah, small business, middle market banking operations in Mexico are going to be exited. So that being said, the stock price seems to be liking that information here. I'm not, I can't guarantee we open on a gap up for tomorrow morning. Remember, a lot can happen between now and 9:30, but based on what we have, let's just assume that there's some sort of gap up, right? We want to talk about the strategy for navigating that gap. So we want to know where the overnight high is. We want to know where the forecasted opening print is. Let's call it here at 67.80. There we go. And we also want to know where today's high of day was. And what this is going to do is give us a rough framework for navigating the bell. Again, please do adjust those numbers based on how the open truly does unfold. I'm just going to quickly clear up some of these older levels, and we'll zoom in here on the daily, and we'll talk in terms of scenarios. Let me adjust this, and that's looking much better. So the first thing we're always thinking about whenever we're dealing with a gap, could be up or down, is the gap and trap. And what that looks like is opening here, failing to accept and find new buyers up and over the overnight high, trading short back down through the open to fill the gap to today's high of day at 67.28. The reason it's called a gap and trap is because anyone who sort of buys it on the open thinking that it has to go higher is simply trapped, right? And the stock pulls back. Likely those people are the ones who have to close out, which causes the gap to fill in the first place. So that's scenario number one. And we do know that if we come on over to the trade tab, this is an easy to borrow stock and the options are pretty liquid, I do believe. Yep. So at the money, strikes in here are not too bad. I suppose it could be better. I'll give the chain here a B, right? It has some work to do. The volume's not fantastic. Again, just short the shares. Probably it's a cheap enough stock if you were interested in playing downside. That's scenario number one. Scenario number two is, of course, the gap and go. And in this case, it does go from the gap, right? Something that looks like this. However, we need to see a pattern that sets up the break up and over the overnight high. So it could be a bull flag. It could be an ascending triangle. Basically, anything that sets up a move here that looks like that. Boom, breakout up and over 68 could take us to the next daily target. So let's find that together here on the daily time frame, scrunching up the chart and quickly bringing out the other tool. First area I would start thinking about would be here around 69.42, 69.50, coming from prior support. Also make pretend and extend that to the left with me. Support here, then flipped resistance. So I like that from a technical perspective. That would certainly make a nice upside target. Is it also going to be bullish as we sort of come into the earnings announcement? Maybe, right? Typically, stocks do like to run up before earnings, and just start getting some excitement around the name. So we'll see if that also plays into it. But again, that's more of an anecdotal piece of evidence. There's nothing about the chart that would support that theory that, the stock has to run up because of the earnings announcement, right? So I just wanted to throw that in there as well. From the 30-minute, what else are we seeing? Certainly kind of trading higher in a trend channel as the rates have been anticipated to go higher. So we'll do something like that, a fairly steep support trend line. However, anchor, touch number 1, 2, 3, kind of grinding against it there, certainly holding up above it on today's session. It would look valid to me. Any breakdowns underneath that, maybe you start to shift the tone here inside of Citi, and I would just watch out for this as your first support. If we start breaking down a little bit harder, you've got this, and then the next one would be here around 65 quarters. So those are my numbers to be watching out for in scenarios based on the gap. If it holds into the open tomorrow morning, again, please adjust the levels accordingly. If you enjoyed the video today or learned anything new, let me know in the comments section or by giving the video a thumbs up. Don't forget our main channel is linked in the description, and all of that being said, I wish you a green trading week.